Would you like to make a podcast? Spotify has a way to let you make one easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place, for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify, and everywhere else podcasts are heard. And video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. You know, ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I've enjoyed sharing my favorite stories with children around the world. If you've ever thought of starting your own podcast, download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. The Story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there was a young boy named Jack who lived with his mother in a cottage. They were so poor that bit by bit they had to sell everything they owned just to buy their food. Then one day, Jack's mother said to him, "We have to sell Bluebell, our old cow. Take her to the market, Jack, and remember, sell her for a good price." So Jack took Bluebell off to market. He had just reached the edge of town when an old man appeared at the side of the road. "Are you going to sell that fine cow?" said the man. "Yes," said Jack. "Well, I'll buy her from you, and I'll give you these magic beans," said the man, holding out a handful of dry beans. "They don't look like much, but if you plant them, you and your mother will be rich beyond your wildest dreams." Jack liked the idea of being rich, and he didn't even stop to wonder how this stranger knew about his mother. "It's a deal." He gave Bluebell to the man and took the beans. When Jack showed his mother the beans, she was so angry that her face turned as red as a beet. "You stupid boy! Go to your room!" she cried, and threw the beans out the window. Jack sat on the edge of his bed, feeling miserable. "Stupid beans," he muttered, "stupid me." Then he fell asleep. When Jack woke up the next morning, it was strangely dark in his room, and all he could see through the window were leaves of a huge plant, a plant so tall that he couldn't see the top of it. "It must be a magic beanstalk," cried Jack. "What's at the top?" So Jack started to climb. Up he went, from branch to branch, from leaf to leaf. At the top was a giant house. Jack's tummy was rumbling with hunger, so he knocked at the great big door. A giant woman answered. "Please, ma'am, may I have some breakfast?" Jack asked politely. "You'll become breakfast if my husband finds you," said the giant's wife. But Jack begged and pleaded, and at last she let him in and gave him some bread and milk. The giant's wife had just shown Jack where to hide when the giant came home in a bad mood. "Fee-fi-fo-fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman!" roared the giant. "Silly man," said his wife. "You smell sausages I have cooked for your breakfast." The giant ate a giant-sized breakfast, then settled down to count the huge gold coins in his treasure chest. There were lots of coins. 101, 102, he counted, but his head started to nod, and before long he was fast asleep. Quick as a flash, Jack grabbed 2 of the huge gold coins and ran out through the front door. He raced down the beanstalk and climbed down it as fast as his legs would carry him. His mother was so happy to see the gold that she hugged Jack for 10 whole minutes. "Clever boy, Jack," she laughed. "We'll never be poor again." Before long, however, Jack and his mother had spent all the money, so the boy decided to climb the beanstalk again. Just as before, Jack knocked on the door and asked the giant's wife for some food. He begged and pleaded, and at last she let him in. She gave him some bread and milk and hid him in the cupboard, just as the giant arrived home. When the giant had eaten a giant-sized lunch, his wife brought him his pet hen. "Lay!" he bellowed, and the hen laid a solid gold egg. It laid 10 eggs before the giant started to snore. Jack could hardly believe his luck. Quick as a flash, he picked up the hen and ran. When his mother saw the hen lay a golden egg, she hugged Jack for 20 whole minutes. Although Jack and his mother were now rich beyond their wildest dreams, the boy couldn't help himself. He decided to climb the beanstalk one more time. This time Jack knew the giant's wife would not be happy to see him, so he sneaked in when she wasn't looking and quickly hid in the cupboard. The giant came home as usual and ate a giant-sized dinner. Then his wife brought him his magic harp. "Play!" he roared, and the harp began to play. It was such sweet music that the giant fell asleep in record time. Jack grabbed the harp and started to run, but the harp cried out, "Master, help!" The giant woke up and chased after Jack. The boy slithered down the beanstalk faster than he'd ever done before, but the giant was catching up.
"Mother, fetch me the axe!"
Jack yelled as he reached the ground. Then he chopped the beanstalk with all his might. The giant quickly climbed back up to the top, just before the beanstalk crashed to the ground. When his mother heard the harp play, she hugged Jack for a whole hour. And if you can imagine, the two of them lived together happily ever after. Thank you for listening to Bedtime Stories. Please make sure you subscribe to follow us for more stories and, of course, share them with a friend. You can get notified of new stories on Twitter and Instagram @MagicMonorail. If you have a suggestion for a new story, send us an email, magicmonorail@gmail.com. Until next time, good night.